Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the Dual Screens podcast, the world's #1 indie dev interview show on the planet, in the galaxy, in the multiverse. Joining me this week, returning, I think for like the fourth time, Kevin, on
Could
this
be.
show. I mean, between, you know, all the Alwa games and then Hop Legs and Tani Nani, and now this
That's
one.
right.
I feel
Yeah.
like this podcast has covered your entire career.
It's my second home. Like is like the second half of my career.
Yeah.
Well, okay, no, it's not like my career is ending. Wait, hold up. If okay. I'm here. This is like my second home.
Yeah, I feel like your entire career is a big part of this podcast. And also you were recently on our very first showcase last year. So dude,
Yeah,
thank you so much for being a part of it, man. That was
of course.
I really can't express the gratitude of having you a part of that. It was very special for all of us here on the show and our listeners. So thank you so much. But this week we're talking about your brand new thing, your brand new shiny thing, and that's PaperKlay, a
That's right.
classic 3D platformer with a tactile twist. So this is a big departure for you. This is a lot of your games are built out of a 2D space, and you've made the jump into
I
a
should
3D.
mention though
You should
that
mention
before Alva and my other games, I
all the
were
other
at the
ones.
studios. The other ones before that, the studios that I worked at were 3D games, but
Mhm.
this is for my own stuff, so to say.
Correct. Yes.
First time 3D.
Yeah, I know. So it's like kind of a big deal because
It is.
this is still you as a solo dev
Yep.
taking on this brave new format. So
Yep.
give us like the elevator pitch of
Oh,
PaperKlay.
okay. I haven't practiced this, so bear with me,
This
listeners. I'm
is the
sorry.
best place to do that.
Sure. Practice run. Uh, so yeah, PaperKlay is a 3D platformer inspired by games that I played when I grew up, and also games that have come out like recently, and like trying to figure out what's good, how have we evolved, and with the love for the visuals of some of the games that I really enjoyed, like Tearaway, Little Big Planet, and those kind of games, and Sackboy, A Big Adventure. So these handcrafted visuals, like it looks like you're running in a paper world or a cardboard. So that's the thing, like a 3D platformer collectathon
Mhm.
where you run around on cardboard pieces and like paper structures and so on. And you play as a clay chicken called Chick, and you have your little friend. It's a duo, obviously.
Of course.
And the little chicken that's yellow is called Nugget. So it's Chick, and Nugget. I didn't want to name the game that because that's the pattern, like Jack and Daxter, Banjo Kazooie,
Right.
Ratchet and Clank, Yooka-Laylee. I didn't want to go with that pattern because I had the names and I had the names of the character and I had the names of the game. I was like, I don't want to mix it up because I'm in love with the name Paperklay. Um, so yeah, so you travel through different worlds and collect things and meet characters that hopefully are interesting. Hopefully look kind of funny because they're made out of maybe just a thin sheet of paper
Right.
or a clay structure. I don't know.
You know, that's a fun problem to have where you have
Yeah.
really really good title choices for your game because chicken nugget, how do you resist?
A friend
Because
was like,
that's kind of amazing for a
"Oh, it
title.
is," but a
Yeah.
friend was like, "Do you think McDonald's can come after you?" I'm like, "I don't want to take that risk."
Collaboration, dude.
Or very much PR for someone's like, oh,
Yeah.
this developer's getting sued. I would shit my pants if I was getting sued by McDonald's because like I have a hunch they have more money and resources than I do. Uh,
But still,
so
they don't own the idea of a chicken nugget,
the
you know.
name, the name Chicken Nugget.
Sure. I think you'd be fine.
We'll see if I change the name.
Speaking of
Between
the
us,
name, I have to ask, where did the Mortal Kombat style spelling of clay come from? It's just a curiosity of mine. Is it just for like
I
the
just thought it was funny.
so it looks funky, a little edgy?
A little different,
Yeah.
I noticed that like majority, like almost all of my games are like two kind of words put
Mm-hmm.
together, like
Mm-hmm.
tani, nani, hop, legs,
Mm-hmm.
paper, clay,
Mm-hmm.
and other games I have lined up that are also like named the same way,
Mm-hmm.
the same structure. I don't know. It kind of happened by accident. Like I didn't thought of it like tiny nani and hop legs. It just happened, and somebody's
Mm-hmm.
like, "Hey, are you doing that?" I'm like, "Yes, that is a decision I made, and I'm going
Totally
with it."
intentional.
Yep.
I'm a genius.
I think my decisions through. This is not. I'm not shooting from the hip or anything.
Isn't this whole game shot from the hip though?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. It is. It is. Oh, it's a game that didn't I didn't plan on making it. It just
Yeah,
happened.
give us
And my craving for attention. Yeah.
because
Do
I
you
was
want me to tell the story?
yeah, I was watching your 1 year like look back on this project and I was kind of blown away by how this whole thing came together. So please walk us
Yeah.
through how this accidental game is going to steal all the hearts of all the
Yeah.
gamers out
So
there one day.
I've been making a lot of 2D games and playing
Mhm.
around with it, having fun. I was like, I want to learn something. That's what like drives me forward, learning new stuff. And I was like, hey, I've been doing 3D modeling when I was a teenager in school and so on. So I kind of know what's up. So I was like, let's take this year, 2022, last year. This is like me thinking back. 2022, I'll focus on making 3D and just like do cool things, do small diorama kind of stuff, post on Twitter, have fun with it. Not put pressure on a new project. That would be awful to put pressure on myself. So I made like an ugly knight, a low poly knight. Didn't barely run or anything, but I
Mhm.
got it working. I was like, okay, cool. I'll make something more cute, more fun. So I made a chicken with a this red thing at the top of the head and like a backpack because I knew I wanted like things to move, like make it feel nice, like there was a
Mhm.
weight on it. So I was like, okay, these are the components that I like, and I live stream my development of things. So I was like, this stream, we're just I during the stream I do these dumb ideas club. Is I'm just like that's the
That's
name of my
amazing.
thing that
Yeah.
I'm like playing around, which used to be 4 hours of prototyping and then throwing it away, see if it works.
Mhm.
So this was, I just want to animate this chicken, making it look good, making it feel nice. So I animated it, and I was like, hey, am I some sort of animator prodigy? That was like was going through my head, and then in the most humble way possible, obviously, and then I posted it on Twitter. I was like, this is nice, cool. I had so much fun. Then I went to bed. And when I woke up, like it had like 1,000 likes or something like that. And it kept going throughout the day. I was like, hello?
What's going
Okay.
on?
And like it was not only like, haha, here's a like. It was, I love this character. I will
Mm.
protect this character, blah, 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 all these things. And I was like, okay, well, this is new. Usually, like Tani Nani, those cute little characters, that
Yeah,
was some love for them. Hop
right.
legs, not so much.
Mhm.
The character looked like me with a big nose and everything, so I get it.
What's not to
Not
love
too much
about
love.
that? Come on.
Mm, okay. So anyway, so this chicken, people connected with it, and I was like, okay, let's see what's up here. I like the attention. So
Mhm.
like, what if I just make sure that you can run around in a 3D platform, like 3D platformer? Yeah,
Correct, yeah.
and I'll take this opportunity to learn how to make like code the physics and everything myself. This could be good. And like each post did like pretty good and very motivating. And I had so much fun doing it.
Mhm.
I was like, kept adding things and so on. Then I was like, okay, what should I add more? Okay, I'll add like a glider. And that's when like if I remember correctly, there was this one guy that worked at Valve that like retweeted it and like mentioned stuff. I'm like,
Holy
oh,
shit.
okay. And people, yeah, it was so much fun, and people wanted to play it. So I spent like 3 weeks making a tiny room that you could run a gray box, like box, grid, texture, and everything. And you collected orbs, and the timer stopped when you collected everything. That's how I I tricked people to play more, like, because otherwise you could like start it, collect a
Ooh,
few
shiny
coins, like
things.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, collect 5 of them, have fun. But then I was like, I'll add 30, and I'll add a
Mm,
timer that stops whenever you collect
mhm.
them all to encourage people like play again, play faster, and everything. And that was a little bit fun. But people really liked how it felt,
Mm.
because that was the main focus. Just how good does the character feel as you run around? And I was like, maybe I have something here. And I was like, okay, but let's go back to, I want to make art. Okay, that was like my thought. I was like, okay,
Right.
what if I, crazy thought, make art for this little thing? Like, how would the visuals look here? So I did some tests. I knew I kind of wanted to go in this direction because when I worked at Zoink, who made Stick to the Man, Faye, Flipping Death, all those
Amazing
games,
games. Yeah.
uh,
Mhm.
they are. And a lot of those games are this like handmade, like it's
It's
cardboard,
a
hand
different
drawn
visual
stuff.
feel for sure when you play those kind of games.
Yeah. And since I worked there for like 4 years, like that was like somewhere in the back of my mind. I was like, I like this. So I'm like, let me give it a go, because I'm not the best at making 3D. So I was like, if I shoot for the moon, I'll
Hmm.
land somewhere, hopefully in the same direction. And when I maybe I'm going too far with this story, but like,
No,
okay,
no,
I'll
I'm
stop
loving
here
every
and like
second of this.
around the corner. I'll stop around the corner. When I posted the first art visual test, that blew up as well. And oh boy, my emails and DMs were flooded with like people wanted to make music, people wanted to join the project overall,
Holy
investors,
shit.
publishers. I was like, oh boy, I do have something here. Uh, and I was like, what do I do? And yeah, that was scary.
I want to get into that because that sounds like a
Yeah.
lot, but why do you
I'll
think,
stop here and
yeah,
we can
yeah,
go on with your
yeah.
questions.
Why do you think people were drawn to this character so much? Because I look at it, it's adorable as fuck. So that's the obvious, but
Yeah.
just the idea of a 3D platformer, there's been a resurgence as of late in the gaming
Yeah.
sphere. And it's this little chicken running around drew so much attention. Like,
Yeah.
why did that happen? Like, can you think of a reason why there was such a huge response for something that you thought, okay, 4 hours, did a quick thing on the
Yeah.
stream, threw it out there, this was fun, good night, and then it just blows up in a way you
Yeah.
never thought possible.
Exactly. If I'm gonna try, so I've been thinking about this actually a lot. Like when I analyzed my previous games that I worked at, Tani Nani,
Mhm.
like what kind of creatures are there? Don't know. No idea. I don't know. I'm just like, they're
Yeah,
purple
just little
blobs that
purple
look
blobs, yeah,
exactly. People
little
don't
smiley
click
faces.
with that as much. The game is fun, it's
Mhm.
cute, but people don't connect it with it as much. Hop
Mm.
legs, you're a box with legs, sure, not the same thing. But it's more like, okay, what are you? Like when you
Mhm.
look at it, you're not sure exactly what you are. But when you look at PaperKlay, you're like, that's a chicken.
Mhm.
I can see it. I like it. Like it's a tiny and it's cute, and you know what it is. It's a chicken.
Mhm.
So I think that helped a lot, and that it's cute, and that is like it looked good with the running. That's why
Right.
majority throughout the first year, like 95% of all my posts started with a running animation from behind in some environment, because I
Mm.
knew that that's what grabbed everybody. So like that when you see whenever I show the glider, the first thing that happened, you're running and turning and then jumping off a cliff and like the
Right.
glider, because I knew that if every new person that saw PaperKlay or whatever I was making at the time was like, okay, I see the running animation. What is this? Or they're like, hey, I've seen the running. Oh, a glider, cool. So I don't know. Like I think it's because it's something that you know what it is. Like
Mhm.
Untitled Goose Game, your goose.
Right.
Um, now why do I always think about goose? Geese?
Geese. Yeah. Geese.
Okay. Jeez.
Gooses.
I was thinking Mighty Goose, you're a goose again.
That's another
I
great
think it's
game.
more like games that you like, you know what you are
Hmm.
in a way. For that's where my mind goes. That's why the reasoning I have why
Yeah.
people want it.
And I think also there's like my mind went immediately to Banjo Kazooie when you see that little
Yeah,
backpack strapped on that chicken. It's and then it invokes all of those great nostalgic memories as well. And then it's
that
again,
that's a very good point.
it's it's also wow, I love and I've missed this genre so much. And look how insane this looks with these graphics and this paper clay world that you've put together as
Yeah,
well.
so I think it's a good point because I remember part of me wanted the glider just because I knew that like people love Zelda.
Hmm.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna hit that nostalgia point. And I think it's a good point. I didn't even think of it that way. That I know I looked at Banjo Kazooie, but I didn't think of it as like, let's grab a bag because that's in Banjo Kazooie. But
Hmm.
I think, yeah, the nostalgia bit, like people like, I recognize this. Oh, this is
Right.
like that game.
Yeah.
I have a friend that he's the one that's gonna make sure that the game goes in like a with the characters and like their personalities and everything that is more like Banjo Kazooie because he pushes me in that direction so much. So yeah, I think it's gonna be exciting.
It is. And then and that's a good segue into the excitement, which is 20 or so publishers are knocking on your door and you don't have
Yeah.
a real game even realized yet. It's just very conceptual. How
Yeah.
do you even begin to respond to all of those messages who want this
So
game?
yeah, that was weird because like uh so when I started the PaperKlay, when I started making it, I had a full-time day job.
Hmm.
And I quit that day job to start freelancing. And as I was doing that, 1 month in, like, and then I got a contract and all that stuff to start working on it for that game that I worked on for a year. So I had like my day job set. That was good, so I could focus on PaperKlay. And 1 month after that, like, yeah, that's when I posted the arts, the visuals, and publishers started coming in, and I was like, I didn't plan on this. I don't know what I'm making. I'm like, as I mentioned in my 1 year devlog recap of PaperKlay, I was like planning 1, 2 weeks ahead. I didn't know what kind of game it was. At
Hmm.
some point, it was a linear experience. At one point, it was like, I'm gonna have the entire game like seamless, open.
This giant open
Uh,
world chicken platforming game.
yeah, that was a plan at one point, and then I was like, well, Mario Odyssey did a very cool thing, and I love that game. Like, okay, maybe in that direction, and then I was like, yeah, maybe. So I tried in my head different directions, and I tried some tests here and there, but what I ended up going with was like a smaller version of Mario Odyssey
Hmm.
with Mario 3D World, the linear levels that you like. So you run around in an open area, talk with characters, solve some puzzles, do some platforming, and then you can enter linear levels. And those levels are very level design, platforming focused, of like 1-2 mechanics. So it's a little bit more intense, and there's a loading screen in between to make
Hmm.
sure that it's a sealed off different part of the game. At one point, it was also like, if I go back a little bit, I was like, Spyro, that you had
Mm,
a small hub,
right.
no enemies, just a hub, and then like a bunch of smaller levels.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, maybe that. But yeah, the game went in different directions in the beginning, and the publishers was like, "Hey, let's have a talk. Do this. Do you need help with this? We can provide everything." And I go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know what everything is. I know." And they were like, "Do you want money?" And I was like, "I like money, but like,
Yes.
I have a very fun, very nice like freelance gig right now that provides money."
Hmm.
So I'm like, okay, and that was like what was going on in my head. I was like, okay, the if I'm being like, how do you say? I don't want to come off as rude,
Mm-hmm.
but
Just be
so
honest.
here was my thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna try. Uh, Before or during Alva's Awakening,
Mhm,
we did that outside of our day job.
mhm,
My day job at the time was first level designer, and then I
mhm,
became a producer. So what
mhm,
I did as a producer, I made sure that the team, everything went smoothly, the planning and everything, made sure that we sent the game, that's all text in the game over to get it localized, translated to all the languages, and then talked with the platform holders like Xbox, Sony, Nintendo, and made sure that the game was working on their console, and made sure that it was uploaded on their like backend and everything, set up the store page and all that stuff. Things that publisher tend to do the work for you. And I was like, I've done it for a few years, like 3 years. And I've done it for like me and Michael from Elden Pixels.
mhm,
We helped out doing the for the Elvis Awakening, and I've done it for Tiny Nanny and Hop Legs. And I ported my own games. I think I ported 4 games to the Switch, and like in the process with PlayStation and Xbox, I was like, I know all these things, and I'm like, the only thing, if the braggadocious part of my brain that I don't
uh-huh.
want to talk about, because I come off as a jerk if I say it, but I'm gonna say it. So I'm sorry in advance. The braggadocious part of my brain thinks the only thing the publishers could offer me at the time, I just want to say
Mhm,
it, at the time, was marketing, the
mm,
reach that they had, because
right.
everything else I could do. There was no timed pressure to get the game out
Mhm,
due to money and so on. Like, I'll figure that part out. I had the freelance gig that funded me, fed me well, and built up a bag of money so I could survive to make PaperKlay. I was like,
mhm.
the money question that they were like, we can give you money, that was not
You already
interesting
got
at
it.
the
Yeah.
time. So I was like, the only thing that you can give me that is unique is marketing. And if you talk to people and know things from a few years in the industry, I've been making games professionally
Mhm.
for 9 years, I think, maybe
Yeah.
10.
You know a thing or two.
Uh, yeah, but I've made games since 2009. But
Mhm.
either way, don't go with a publisher only for marketing.
Oh, 'cause I was gonna ask you.
Unless it's like Devolver or
Right,
like
right,
top five. Like,
right.
unless it's those, don't go with a publisher only for marketing. If it's your first game in like all these different parts of like localization and like porting and then how everything works, fine, go with it if you want to.
Mhm,
Like for me, with years of experience, I'm like, I'll do that myself. I've done it last year, blah blah blah, and all that stuff. So what the publishers could offer me wasn't that interesting. And But I did talk to some of them for a little bit. I was
mhm.
close with one specifically. I'm not going to name them, but I was
I'll
close
ask you
with
after we
one.
stop recording.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And I was like, I don't like, my gut feeling says no.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
like, I want control over this, and I don't want, because I know friends that have been in scenarios where the game didn't turn out exactly how they wanted to because the
Mhm,
publisher was pushing part in a specific direction due to reasons, obviously, or they're like, we're not allowed to work as much on the game
mhm.
anymore. I was like, I always want to make sure that my game are up to a standard where I think it's like perfect or good or perfect, somewhere in between. And I don't, because in the end, I'm gonna be the one that's the face of the game.
Mhm.
If somebody looks past the actual game, they're like, who's responsible for the game is breaking? Oh, Kevin. And I don't want to be in a position where I'm not allowed to fix it.
Right.
Uh, I just want to clarify that part. I know friends who are not allowed to fix the console version of their game due to it costs too much to do QA and all that, like the admin part of it. And I never want to be in that position where I'm not allowed to make sure my game runs well for the players.
And that's a
Yeah,
publisher saying to them, "You can't, sorry, we don't have the budget to fix
yeah,
issues on the console
yeah.
version."
Because the game doesn't sell well enough.
Oh, that's fucked.
So I never want to be in that position. And also, I heard like stories of developers being screwed over by the publisher and all stuff,
Mhm,
and like Steam pages being pulled down and then you lose all the wish lists. I was like hearing all these things. I'm like, no, I'm never. No, 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 no. So it was a lot of things going on in my head. I was like, I'm just gonna like make the game that I want to make.
Were they trying to like change your vision of the game, even though there wasn't really much of a full realized vision of what you wanted this to be? But were they trying to get their ideas in as they were trying to give you sacks
No,
of dollar
we didn't
signs
never
on them?
got that far. We
Mhm,
never got that far, but it was more like this is what we can offer you.
mhm,
This is what we can like do to make sure that you can focus on the game, which it sure on some level is really good that I can like not do certain things, just focus on the game. But I've also been in situations where I'm not satisfied with how things were handled out of my control.
mhm. I
So
think
I was like, it's scary.
what's ironic is you don't have a marketing issue. Your marketing of the game by posting animations on Twitter drew 20 plus publishers alone.
Yeah.
Not even mentioning those who want to work on the game, music and all that. So
Yeah.
I think the game was already selling itself. It's building an audience based on what it looks like and how you've put it together and the journey and the story behind it. So do you even need
Yeah, I think
marketing
there's
at this point?
something.
Again,
Yeah, like sure.
not to make you more braggadocious. You're gonna be like, hey, I can do it all myself. All of it.
Like I'm being realistic. Sure,
Yeah.
it's gonna take a lot of work to reach outside of Twitter and everything. That's why
Correct.
I
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
to do like YouTube and like all these other parts.
Mhm.
I had a moment where I was very good with, not very good. I was doing TikTok, doing the thing, not the dances, but like
Yeah.
posted about the game.
Yeah. You
But
did a
I
thing.
think, yeah, but I think that when I get closer to release, I'll try to keep it a steady pace, and then when I get closer to the release, I'll amp everything up.
Are you
But
aiming for
yeah,
like just PC at first, or is it gonna be a full like what's your initial
I'm
goal?
I'm a big fan of Steam and one console,
Mhm.
or sorry, PC and one console. I mean,
Right.
if Epic Games are listening, my DMs are open.
Hey,
Um,
Epic.
hey, uh, but yeah, so I'm a big fan of like PC and one console, and then we'll see like who wants me the most, if anybody.
Bro.
Uh, I mean, there are obviously opportunities that are out there. We'll see if somebody see the potential in me. PaperKlay.
Listen,
See the potential
I
of PaperKlay.
I think the intent, the appeal is there by looking at it. And
Hopefully,
you mentioned early on about people seeing just a running animation saying that they would die for this chicken.
yeah.
Let's get into who is Chick, who is Nugget, what is this
Mm,
world? Why am I
yeah.
gonna love these characters? What is their story?
Okay. So everything is not final, obviously,
I love like
but
there's a little pause, like, all right, I have
yeah, because
no fucking idea.
obviously at first I was thinking about the first draft of the story that was thrown away. My friends were like, "No, you cannot do this." I'm like, "Okay, fine.
Oh,
Sorry, my bad."
you gotta get back to that. I want to hear what that was.
Yeah, it's dark. Yeah,
Dark?
but
Holy shit.
oh yeah. So the idea right now, this might change,
Mhm.
but start of the story is more like they are friends. I'm not 100% sure what the relationship is. If they're brothers, is one of them adopted, so their brothers like that way, or they're
Mhm.
just friends? I haven't fine-tuned that exact part, but they lay down, chill out somewhere in a green area, and then something flies past, and they're like, "What was that? That looked dangerous." And then they like run home, and that's like the first level where you like learn the game, linear path, you jump,
Right.
do things. Then you go back to the egg town, which is egg-shaped buildings and whatnot. That's where
Naturally.
you live. Obviously,
Yeah.
the name is not set in stone, but like ballparking ideas. And then you see like a big like pirate ship or something like that. Like, got these ropes around the town and like lifts it up, and then you see like if it's both characters' mother or just one of them, like a
Got it.
mother chicken,
Yeah.
and like eggs falling down
Oh
as the ship
no.
flies away, like kidnaps the entire city, town. My bad. And that's like the explanation why eggs are all around the game, the world. Um, yeah. So that's kind of like, but about how their characters are. Like I love uh Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, like
Uh-huh.
where the tiny character is like the funny one, like the
Like
comedic relief.
yeah, the goofy, yeah.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, I had Xbox and my neighbor had PlayStation, so I went over there and played Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank with him. So I love these kind of things. I'm not fully sure if I'm gonna have voice acting or not.
Hmm.
I'm not fully sure yet.
Okay.
But I kind of want the tiny character to be like the comedic one.
Hmm.
Uh,
As it should
so
be.
I think that's the kind of relation
So
I want with the characters.
chicks like the straight man. He's like,
Yep, this is how we do it.
I was gonna say it's a very appropriate story because given what it costs to buy a carton of eggs these days, kidnapping a egg town, I
You'll
think
cry.
I think that's like we're almost there.
It's relatable. You want a story that's relatable.
Like it's an allegory of the troubles of our times. Like it's a fucking chicken and egg platformer.
Everything shooting from the hip. I'm like, yeah, sure, that's a
It's
story.
like this is so deep on so many levels, you have no idea.
If people just found out how I came up with the story, I'm like, yeah, that's good, perfect. Yeah.
What's it been like over this last year developing this adorable little game? What have you learned about yourself and the 3D platforming process as a
Okay,
whole?
so there are multiple layers in this one. My life has
You're a
been,
very multi-layered man, Kevin. We've learned.
whew,
You're deep.
even though
You can be a little
how
dark.
multi-layered I may be, I cannot sing. That's my only flaw. I've got the looks, the charm, the
See,
skills, but not the singing voice.
at least you don't think you can sing. That's an even worse trait to have. When you think,
Okay, if I'm in the shower or in the car, I can sing. I sang today as I was driving. I was like,
uh-huh.
did I hit the notes?
Did I
No.
just do my
Am
audition
I
reel for American Idol?
am I a singing prodigy? No.
Should I quit my day job and become a
that's
full-time
that's
singer?
the that's the comment. Don't quit your day job. So what's been like? It's been all over the place. Like if we're gonna be real for a second, I went from a full-time day job to a freelance life that somehow is working out.
Mhm.
Like I'm in the middle of switching between two projects, and then like the new project just fell into my lap.
Right.
Like last week, I'm like, okay, sure. And then I'm not gonna say how long, but
Mhm.
because when the game is being announced, people might put pieces together.
Mhm.
Things solved itself. So that's the work part. I lived in a city. I moved out into the forest. I moved back to the city. Then now I live in a town 20 minutes away from the city. So I've moved several times this year. I hate moving, or the past year. I've separated from a relationship. So now
Right.
I'm. Um, this is a weird way of putting. I'm not in a relationship anymore. I don't
Right.
want to say I'm single, like, but like that's how
I'm
it is.
free.
Well, that's not how I would put it.
You got
Either
different
way,
kinds of shackles on you though as a game dev. Let's be honest. You have
yeah. So like
whole
my
other
life has
commitments.
been all over the place,
Mhm.
which is I had health scares. I'm like,
Oh
do I
my
have
god.
cancer? Like my mind has
Dude.
been everywhere. Yeah. It was for real, and I like almost like what is it called when you drive and like there's water and like almost
Kevin. You
next
were
to two big trucks, and I was like, my life. So the last year, kind of want to forget it. It's been all over the place. I'm good now. I've talked to a therapist, but
I, holy shit! Can we talk about
video
mental?
games.
Yeah, dude,
Oh yeah.
it's
So that's the reason why I think actually this is not a way of me sounding cooler about like
mhm,
how far I've gotten with paperclay,
mhm,
but I think there's been about like 3 or 4 months during last year where I didn't work on the game. I was like, no,
mhm,
I can't because life.
mhm,
I'm good now.
mhm,
I'm good now. And that's not like I'm good, I promise. And then I scream into a pillow. No, I'm
right.
good. Uh but like the it's been all over the place. So I'm looking forward to a year of just working on the game because last year I also like with the announcement and there's so much like making a trailer, like making stuff that could go into a trailer, then making the trailer and then like submitting it to an event and like please have me, and then they have you luckily. And like other events you're trying to like get the game into, that takes a lot of work and effort. So my idea, until I change my mind, this year I'm just gonna work on the game,
Mhm.
just gonna progress as much as I can, and just relax and work. It's a weird mix, but that's my thing. I relax when I work on my own stuff because I don't know. I'm a workaholic. Yeah, there I
Well,
said it.
yeah, I would feel it does kind of wonders for your mental wellness because you're dealing with all this other outside stuff, your
Yeah.
relationships and other pressures, and having this little world that you've made or that you work on that's
Yeah.
just totally away from all of your real life stuff and
Yeah.
pressures. It allows you to kind of de-stress and relax and put things in perspective, and then with the therapy. So again,
Mm.
it's a crazy world being a solo indie game dev, but to see that
Yeah.
it brings you comfort and peace and it relaxes you
Yeah.
is a
I,
little
I have
nutty.
three things that I do to like with life, you know.
Mhm.
I go outside in the woods, like drive to a wood, go to a wood, and just walk.
Mm,
That's nice. And then I go to the gym
good.
almost every day, and then I work on my stuff. I turn my phone upside down, and I'm not on Discord or not nowhere. I just work for a few hours,
Mhm.
and that's nice. It's
Now,
relaxing.
now I think it's a good see things got dark for like a hot second,
Oh,
and
sorry.
I don't know, and I kind of want to use that and pivot into your original dark version of this game.
Ooh, maybe.
And is that where it all came from? This is all see, it's like a therapy session
Like
too.
it could be. It could, okay. So let me tell you about the version of paperclay that never will see the light of day. Um, so I thought this world that you're in, this paper clay cardboard, you see what I did there with the name?
Yeah.
A paper clay cardboard world, it's not real. So what
Mhm.
happened? So the idea was that you somehow are in this real world, you fight with your parents, you're a kid, you're like 9 years old. You
Mhm.
fight, and then you're like, I'm gonna run away. Don't do this, kids. But that's what the idea. Like
Right.
runs away, and you see like a silhouette running up a hill, and then there's this well, and there's trees and everything, and lightning starts making noise and everything. All
Mhm.
that lightning does, and then somehow the boy is being like struck by lightning, fall down into the well, and that's kind of like where the game starts. I don't.
Mhm.
It's sort of like Alice in Wonderland. So
Right,
you wake
right,
up in this
yeah.
world, and you're
Mhm.
this like clay chicken, and you do things, and throughout the game, you would like see like things like a lid somewhere, like looks um like a light or like a
Mhm.
I don't know a piece of wood, whatever, and then like
Mhm.
shut through, and then like you could hear like these
Oh
like
my god.
beats, and
Yeah.
you're like, what is this? And then in the end I was like, okay, like or if it wasn't the end, it would be like the like an Easter egg or the true ending, whatever, would be like you're in a coma. Like you would get hints throughout the game that you were this
Mhm.
kid in a coma in a hospital,
Just
and you could
dreaming,
hear like
yeah.
the mother crying and like the father, like everything. And my friend was like, "You cannot do this. Don't." I was like, "It's too much." I'm like, "Yeah, it is." I was like, "For a game that would be sold to like everybody,
Right. Well,
might be too dark."
you got games like that Dragon Cancer, so this is not like the most
Yeah.
far-fetched idea.
No, that's where
But
my
in
mind went. I was like,
right.
not too bad.
But in terms of like,
Uh,
getting that broader universal appeal, like I don't think little kids want to discover that they're playing as a comatose
no.
child at the end of a really cute game.
So like, and then after like a few weeks, I'm like, I see where you guys are coming from. I'm not gonna do that direction. Let me think of something else.
Oh my god,
Uh,
you should tell that to all those publishers to scare them off.
that'd be oh
Like
that okay. That'd be so much fun.
I'll take your money. Here's my idea, guys.
What if?
So you're brain dead. You're a 5-year-old brain dead.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe save it for the sequel.
Oh yes, of
Or
course.
the alternative version.
Um,
Yeah.
Speaking of like putting all your stuff out there, because you're very open with what you do, and
Yeah.
you have a nice little cut of your game in demo form on Steam right now. What's that feedback
Yeah.
been like from those who had first seen this thing? Now they're playing it. So how
Yeah.
does that feedback kind of like also factor into your day-to-day dev process?
The majority was very good.
Hmm.
People liked it. It was very nice. There were some fair criticism, and made the game better. Like
Mhm.
one of them was like, "There's not enough coins to collect. There's not like there's this linear path that I can walk on. Sure, the demo is linear, but I was like, and he said like there want to be platforms everywhere on the walls and everything because I want to not progress and just like jump and do things
Like
here." And I was
explore
like,
a bit,
I'm
yeah.
like, you're so right. You're so right. Because it's very easy to like stare blindly into like, this is what I need to do to finish the demo. And then you
Mhm.
forget sometimes like, what do you do when you play the game?
Right.
And it's like, it was early for me. And I've learned more. So that I'm taking that into account now when I'm making new stuff. Like I'm trying to hide things and do fun challenges here and there. So it definitely made me grow as a designer to like look at what I'm making. What does the player want to do? And am I allowing them to do that? Visually, the game grew like a few weeks before the demo came out. My friend Patrick, he's like the one that I turn to for help with colors. You would not believe how much change of colors can make the game better. I don't know if I put it in the 1 year devlog recap, but maybe I did. But the colors, like we sat down for 20 minutes and the game went from this is a cool idea to I want to spend money on this. Like everything just like clicked and it made the game so much better visually just by 20 minutes of changing colors. So yeah, don't worry, every listener. I'm paying that friend to help me with the rest of the game to change colors. That's right. He's doing the concept art as well. Like I'm telling him this is what I want to do, and he like just puts it on paper. I'm like, that's perfect.
Isn't that great?
It's great. He also worked on Sackboy: A Big Adventure, like doing
Oh,
concept for it. I think
well,
it was that game.
there's
It
your
must have
Sony
been.
connection right there. Like, hey, Sony, this sounds like a nice little platformer. You can
Yeah, maybe.
wink, wink.
Uh, but yeah. So the feedback has been really fun. I have been thinking about like doing another small low key demo of like another linear level that I'm making to like just catch up with people. Like, how does it feel?
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the thing that I like as well, being like not having a publisher is that I could, in the spur of the moment, just like maybe I'll just make a tiny demo and see what people think. Um, sure, there are benefits of like holding off, obviously, but I want to have fun. I want
What is
to try it my way.
what is the red tape like for that? Let's say you had a publisher and you want to do a demo. Is it just no, it's not the right time, or we don't think so, or what does
So
that look like from that perspective? Just for those aspiring devs listening to
y-
this
yeah, it could
podcast
be
right now.
like obviously you want to save some things that are exclusive
Mhm,
for like a showcase or something. So because it will get more eyes on your project if it's in a showcase rather than here's a tweet.
mhm,
So obviously, some parts you want to keep for that. That's like the main thing. Like and obviously I hear so much new things, and then everybody want to watch. But yeah, the showcase is like a big thing because like there are different tiers of showcases, I assume, or I guess you could say, like a this is nothing against you guys. I'm just want to like put it in the perspective. Like your showcase, E3 is
I mean,
different. Like it's another level.
oh,
Or
I
like
had no
my
idea. I'm not at E3 level of
just letting you
attention.
know, like us between no, but like they're like
Oh, my world is
the
shattered, Kevin.
platform specific, like Xbox, Sony,
Of
Nintendo
course.
Direct. Like there are these things, and they want exclusive stuff.
Oh yeah,
So
I get it.
there's a good reason to like hold off to some of these like
Mhm.
exclusive things. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I just want the validation. I think that's it. Like, please say my game is good. No, but the thing is, I don't want to work on a game for several years
Mhm,
and it turn out to not be good. So sure you can do these like publishers do this like obviously internal testing that's not
mhm.
public, hence the name internal testing. So they know these things like does it feel good, is it nice, blah blah blah. But yeah, I don't know, some parts like fine I guess for on my end to be like, oh here's a small test.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned that because again, when we put our showcase together, like we had that sense of we want all original content, not
yeah.
realizing one how hard it is for someone to put something unique together for a showcase, and also how many happen throughout the year that you have no idea even exist.
Mm,
So again, it was a big learning process for us, and I think
mm,
now when we do it again this year, I think the angle will be more towards just having just promoting and highlighting games as opposed to we're
yeah,
revealing brand new stuff or new content or new footage. Um, but yeah, because we're not at an E3 level. And
right.
again, we never could you imagine? Like, we're gonna get like 200 billion views on this video, Kevin. Just make it special for us and no one else. Okay,
Yeah,
you got it.
I got you. Yeah, no, it's a lot of work to make
It is,
new
yeah,
things.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because you
it's
think,
fun when you do have new things. That's fun. But yeah,
yeah, but you think in your brain, oh, you could put a 2-minute trailer together. How long would that take you? Like 2 minutes?
how hard it is. Yeah,
How hard could it be? No pressure, Kevin.
yeah,
Um, what is the timeline? Because you say you don't want to work on a game for an exorbitant amount of time. So
yeah.
what is the roadmap for this? Now you're a year out essentially from the initial concept. Now you have a more defined idea what the game is going to be.
Yeah.
What's your release window? Is that even part of your process now, or you're just still kind of
Yeah, I had like a release month in mind.
Mhm,
I have pushed the game due to, life.
sure.
But I've said that I don't want to work on games for more than 2 years.
Hmm.
However, this might be the first game that I'm working on that's going past 2 years.
Yeah.
Because less than 3 years is the window.
Hmm.
Um, like not more than 2 more years,
Hmm.
I should say, because my plan now, with like the life situation, is that I want to. The main focus is like freelance work, just to make sure that I'm sustainable and like it's stable and everything. Money comes in, I can pay my rents and everything. And then I'll make sure to not take on, because that's the fun part and scary part about freelancing is
Mhm.
that you can do more. Like you can in theory pick up more projects like if you want to. But I'm now in a phase where like, okay, I have one gig. That's what I do. Outside of that, I can like be a normal human being and make paper clay. So I can't say the release window because I don't know it anymore.
Mhm.
But I have a rough estimate on like where I want to be at the end of this year, and then next year we'll see how long it takes to finish it.
All
So yeah.
right. Yeah, it's all very exciting. I feel like if there was ever a project of yours that shouldn't adhere to that 2-year development cycle, it's a game like this because it's again, it's a 3D platformer, and given the amount of attention it's received so far, put in the extra work because I think at the end of the day, it's gonna be something really special when this thing comes out.
That's Thank you. First of all, thank you. I That's what I think as well. Like I want to make sure that I think I've mentioned this on my stream or something like that. I want to make sure that this is not just a game that I make and like throw away. Like here are
Mm-hmm.
some characters, LOL. I want to make sure that if there was a demand for it and I wanted it, I could make more paper clay stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to prepare. Yeah, it could be special. So I don't want to waste this opportunity of like just rushing the game out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't also want it to take forever.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
like I'm like I have these ideas of like, for example, the character, go back to it and like fine tune things in the face to like to if you there's no denying it could look a little bit like Chicken Little. Word on the street. That's what I've heard for some people. I take it as a compliment.
Mm.
But like if you look at that character, like if you look at the eyes of Paperclay, Chick, the characters in Paperclay, they're all black dots. And Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter, Banjo Kazooie, Yooka-Laylee, all these have Mario, these eyes with pupils and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Is it called pupils? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But like Paperclay doesn't have that. And that was like a
Right.
worry for me. Like, oh, I can't like bring out the emotion the same way. So I was like, okay, let's look at Chicken Little. What are they doing? That's a movie. They show emotions.
Right.
So all these like facial muscles and like eyebrows and everything. I
Mm-hmm.
have eyebrows, but like more to be able to squish it. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
go back and make sure that I can show more emotion
Mm-hmm.
on the characters, for example, for long term. Like if I want to do for this game, or if I want to like just prepare the rig and everything,
Mm-hmm.
how I can animate the character uh, long term, so to say, to make sure that like you make some sort of relationship with the character as you play it, or probably in the promo material and so on.
Yeah. And I think given who your cast of characters are, it's like basically sequel proof because you can have the little baby nugget be like the star, or Chick could lay an egg, and that could be a potential avenue to explore for either DLC or other content down the road.
You, you
It's
want
there.
you want to know a crazy part? I'm not gonna say it anywhere else because it's some might say it crazy,
Mm-hmm.
or I already have the outline of a story for a sequel if I would ever make one.
Uh-huh.
And I told it to a friend, and he was like, "Yep, that's good. You're not in a coma. Don't worry.
You've
That's
lost
easy."
your arms and legs in a tragic boating accident.
No, but I have like, okay, here's like an idea what could happen. Okay, cool. This could be fun. Because I look at like these other 3D platforms, like they have this cast of characters that like can do things. I'm not saying that I'm gonna make like a Mario Kart or something like that, but in
Right.
theory, like there are these characters that are reoccurring in the different games. Like Bowser is the villain in, to my knowledge, like almost every Mario game.
Mhm.
Like it's a similar setup like that you're used to. I love that idea, and I'm very inspired by it. So who knows what happens?
Can I just say how when I asked you what this game was about, the story, you had a little bit of a pause, but then you're also like, but here's my full fleshed out sequel idea I also have in my brain.
Yeah. Okay. So the story, what happens in PaperKlay, is planned out, but
Mhm.
the actual like relationships and stuff like that, that
Mhm.
is not fully.
The
I
little nitty
know
gritty
all the areas
details.
that you're gonna visit
Mhm.
and what it's gonna look like,
Mhm.
and the villain and everything. So yeah,
Amazing. Well, Kevin, since you've been on the show a bajillion times and we've rapid
yeah,
fired you to death, I feel I'm going to go a different route with this little
hit me.
lightning bonus section
I'm
of the
ready
interview.
for everything.
I'm going to read to you a bunch of shitty chicken and egg puns.
Sweet.
All right, here we go.
Good.
You ready for this?
Yep.
Now, you don't get to guess an answer. I'm just going to have a question. I'll read the answer and you can just respond, laugh, boo me, throw a tomato at my screen, whatever you
Yep. Yep.
want to
Yep.
do.
Yep.
Why did the chicken cross the playground? He wanted to get to the other slide.
No slide. What slide?
I
Oh,
don't.
playground.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoosh. Sorry, you dropped me on that one. Okay, next one.
What do chickens grow on?
I don't know, Andy. Tell me.
Eggplants.
Okay, that was good.
What does a chicken need to lay an egg every day? Endurance.
Okay, that's good. That's a solid one. Solid one.
What do you call a scared egg? Terrified.
Mm. There are like multiple. I feel like there are several layers to that one.
I feel like
But
this
yes.
one you could probably guess the answer to.
Okay.
What's an egg's favorite type of coffee?
Wait.
Espresso. Espresso.
Okay. Okay, I like these ones.
What did
Could
the egg?
I add that?
I
Yeah.
feel like, listen, if you're
There
doing little
could be.
notes or stuff in your world, or
Yeah.
Everett in the egg town talks in egg puns.
Espresso, eggplant. That
Mhm.
eggplant is
You use
really
the
funny.
express lane on the in the checkouts.
Oh, who hurt you, Andy?
You know, when I was a kid,
Okay.
and I went to Greece for the first time when I was, I think, 8 years old. Um, I saw my grandma lopping off chickens' heads
There we go. That's a
because
story.
that's all like the village
That would
lifestyle.
scar me for life.
And a rooster attacked me in my grandmother's village.
Are you gonna be able to play PaperKlay, or are you like too scared? Have
Listen,
you overcome it?
this could be like a dark horror game for me as I'm playing
It
it,
could be.
or
Yeah, yeah.
it could be therapeutic. I could get over my fear of chickens,
With
but
the current story that I'm going with, it might be therapeutic. Otherwise, the different direction, the coma, could be a horror game.
but listen, I get my revenge on a daily basis. I eat chickens all day long, so
Oh,
that's how
solid.
that's how I've gotten over it.
You
Um,
won.
mhm. Why wouldn't the farmer let the hen in his house?
I don't know, Andy.
She kept laying deviled eggs. Dude, that could be a fun
That's
like
terrifying.
villain character, a deviled egg. Come on, dude,
Yeah. Yeah. That's smart. That's smart. I'm writing this down.
write that shit down, Kevin.
Yep. Yep, yep, yep.
Let's do a few more of these
Terrified.
before we say good. Terrified. Don't forget the eggplant one. Let's do a few more before we say goodbye. What?
Devil's egg. This is good.
Yeah, what did the egg do when it saw the frying pan? It scram.
Eggscape.
Oh,
Okay.
that's good though. That's it says it's
I'm
scrambled.
running.
It's
Okay.
scrambled, but I like
That's
yours
also
better.
good.
I like yours better.
Good.
This is a weird one. I have no idea how to raise chickens. I think I'll just wing it.
Mm.
Um, I ate an omelet for breakfast, but I'm
Oh
still
no.
feeling peckish.
No. I still like the winged one.
The wing it. What do you call the door to a chicken barn? The entrance.
Interesting. That, like, they're almost getting to me.
And finally, what do you call a crazy chicken? A cuckoo cluck. Kevin, this is
Like,
gold, and
yeah,
you know it. These are
they're golden.
these are boss character names right now. So just write that shit down.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea.
The cuckoo cluck, dude.
Cuckoo clock.
Making magic. I feel like this is on par with how you make your game in general. It's all just at
Oh
the seat of your
yeah,
pants.
like when I live stream, like a lot of good ideas come from the chat, just writing things. Let's try it. And then turns out good. So yeah,
It's amazing.
it's the way to do it.
That's incredible. And also you're incredible, Kevin. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
on the show this week, dude. It's been a treat talking to you about your process, about the game, your 20 publisher offers, a little peek behind the indie dev curtain over there. Where can we follow you and PaperKlay? Give me your no nonsense marketing spiel that won't cost you
Okay.
an arm and a leg and selling your soul to a big publisher.
Right. So I mostly post on Twitter, where you can find me Andersson Kev, 2S in Anderson. I post a lot about PaperKlay. There is also a YouTube channel that's called YKev, WHYKEV. That's the company name. Or just search for PaperKlay devlog or whatever. I stream on Twitch, Andersson Kev. That's like the main thing, I think.
All
Oh,
right.
the biggest one, go to Steam and wishlist
Yes.
PaperKlay, because that helps. The algorithm, I need to feed it. Yeah,
And we'll put all those links below for you guys to clickety
I
click and give
appreciate it.
Kevin all your love and support. Thank you, Kevin. It's been incredible. Thank you, listeners. And as always, please be excellent.
Don't.
I couldn't help myself to each other. All right, guys. Take care. Until next week.